This is the smell of a warm 3-day-old egg salad sandwich in a wimpy trash bag.
Wimpy, wimpy, wimpy!
Blech. And this is the smell of that same sandwich in a hefty, ultra-strong trash bag with new Fabuloso lemon scent.
Hefty, hefty, hefty!
Smell the difference? When life gives you stinky, get Hefty Ultra Strong with new Fabuloso lemon scent. It smells like clean, freshly picked lemons. So no matter what's inside your trash, you can stop the stink and smell the lemon.
We made this.
Hello and welcome to We Are Starfleet, a Star Trek Discovery and Strange New Worlds podcast on the We Made This podcast network. I'm your host, Ashley Thomas, in the captain's chair today, and my number one is Craig McKenzie, and we continue our coverage of the second season of Star Trek Strange New Worlds by discussing episode 209, Subspace Rhapsody, written by Dana Horgan and Bill Wolkoff, directed by Dermot Downs, with music and lyrics by Kay Hanley and Tom Pulse of Letters to Cleo, with choreography by Roberto Campanella. This podcast is being recorded during the 2023 WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes. Without the labor of the writers and actors currently on strike, Star Trek Strange New Worlds being covered here wouldn't exist. We stand with the WGA and SAG-AFTRA and hope and pray the strike comes to an amicable conclusion soon so we can all get back to enjoying more Star Trek. In this episode, an accident with an experimental quantum probability field causes everyone on the USS Enterprise to break uncontrollably into song, but the danger is that the field is expanding and beginning to impact other ships, allies, and enemies alike. Our guests to discuss this episode are a couple of guys who know a thing or two about musical theater. It's Geoff Owen and Martyn Hearn. Hello, Martyn and Geoff. But why are we singing?
Apologies. Great to be here. I'm enjoying this already.
This is the smell of the leftover tuna fish sandwich you left in your lunchbox over the weekend in a wimpy trash bag.
Wimpy, wimpy, wimpy!
Blech. And this is the smell of that same sandwich in a hefty, ultra-strong trash bag.
Hefty, hefty, hefty!
Smell the difference? Hefty Ultra Strong has Arm & Hammer with continuous odor control, so no matter what's inside your trash, you can stay one step ahead of stinky. And for bigger jobs, try the superior strength of Hefty Large Black Bags.
Yeah, I've been really enjoying it as well, and coming in as a newbie, it's been great to come in and immerse myself in this entire episode, and this particular world has been great. So I've enjoyed it.
This is the smell of a warm 3-day-old egg salad sandwich in a wimpy trash bag.
Wimpy, wimpy, wimpy!
Blech. And this is the smell of that same sandwich in a hefty, ultra-strong trash bag with new Fabuloso lemon scent.
Hefty, hefty, hefty!
Smell the difference? When life gives you stinky, get Hefty Ultra Strong with new Fabuloso lemon scent. It smells like clean, freshly picked lemons. So no matter what's inside your trash, you can stop the stink and smell the lemon.
Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. It's a thing. And now the truth is out there. I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from with new games released each week. You can play for free anytime, anywhere. And each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Wonderful. Now, Martyn, I know Geoff's been on the show before, so we know a little bit of his history with Trek. Could you briefly tell our audience your history with Trek?
Yeah, so I'm old. So I watched the original when I was growing up and wasn't a major fan of it, if I was perfectly honest. But then the Picard era started and I loved every one of those. I used to wait till, I think it was 6:00 on a Wednesday night on BBC Two, and I'd watch all of those. Then I sort of went off a little bit, saw little bits and bobs, quite enjoyed Voyager for a while. And then I ended up watching Picard and really loved it. And then I didn't really know much about this one. And then Geoff sort of mentioned it. I went, oh, okay. So I had a look at that, and I've basically binge watched the entire 2 seasons in 2 days.
Very impressive, and frankly, can't blame you. I think Strange New Worlds is probably one of the most rewatchable of all of modern Trek, for sure. Very accessible. Very cool. Very cool.
That's definitely the way of using your free trial on Paramount Plus as well, Martyn.
Well, the thing is, it runs out tonight, so I'm going to start paying to watch the last episode, but that's fine. I can do that.
Yeah, you can manage. You can manage. Very good. Very good. Craig, how are you doing today, brother?
I'm doing good. How are you? I'm like in Benga. I do not sing.
You do not sing? Would you rather be poofed into a bunny?
That may be preferable, but I'd rather not. There are exceptions. I do sing when I've had a bit to drink and there's karaoke on the go, but neither of those two things have happened today, so you're getting the verbal only version of me today, I'm afraid.
Right. Well, I love to sing, drunk or not, and but despite that, I'm not like a super huge musical kind of person, but Martyn and Geoff are, so I'm really glad you guys are here with us today.
Martyn's more of one than I am. I've only really been diving into musicals for the past sort of 6-7 years, but Martyn, I think your experience is a couple of years longer than that.
Yeah, I've been probably working in musicals the last 25 years. So I work as a vocal coach, and I work with basically performing arts students before they move to the next section where they go to drama college. So yeah, so I must have MD'd about 25, 30, 40, 50 shows over the last 20 years. So yeah, I'm sort of here for the musical bit of it rather than the Star Trek bit of it, I suppose.
Martyn is in the process at the moment of making our cast unlearn various Elvis numbers and relearning them in whole different ways for the show that we're currently doing. So
that's my job, yeah.
That's very cool. Are you allowed to say which show it is?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Go on, Geoff.
The show is All Shook Up. It's going to be at Commandment Arts Institute in November. I can't remember the exact date off the top of my head. It's a musical featuring lots of Elvis music, but it's not about Elvis. It's about an American town in the 50s, which is very, very conservative sort of town. The mayor stopped any kind of fun, like kissing, singing, dancing, whatever. And then this roustabout comes in and basically shakes everything up. It's a lot of fun, this show, actually.
Sounds like Footloose, but make it 50s.
Exactly, actually. It's like Footloose, but slightly more complicated with rather than a love triangle, I think it's a love quadrangle.
Octagon.
There's lots, yeah.
Sounds dramatic. Very cool. Awesome. All right. Geoff, why don't I start with you? Let's go over our overall thoughts about Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 2. So, Geoff, how are you feeling about Season 2 thus far? We've only got one episode left.
I know, it's gone by so quick, isn't it? I just can't believe that there's just the one episode left so far. I've been enjoying it, to be honest. There's been a couple of clunkers, but overall I've enjoyed the whole season. And even when I say clunkers, they haven't been terrible. They just have been okay. But otherwise, I mean, there's probably about 5 or 6 episodes already this season that I could already go see myself going back and rewatching time and time again, particularly those old scientists.
Yeah, for sure. So, Martyn, you said you have binge watched Strange New Worlds in approximately 2 days. So,
pretty much.
Well done.
Yep.
But 2, how do you feel about the series?
So as I said, I came in not knowing anything. I watched it and initially I thought, it's okay, first couple of episodes. But then I managed to get really engaged with the characters. I really sort of felt, I just sort of like, I quite like these guys. So that was quite interesting. And as I was watching the episode, I was doing some research, as we all do now, looking at like, what have they been before, what the characters, so I understood the background of all of it. I was a bit gutted with what happened at the end of season 1, because I did like that particular character. But then started watching season 2, watched the first one, I went, oh. And initially, I wasn't particularly enamored with it, season 2. But then I watched Ad Astra Per Astra, and I thought that was amazing. I thought that was such a great one. And I had goosebumps, and I even welled at one point when they all went, but we're a friend. And I went, oh. So yeah, I enjoyed that. Yeah, actually, the only one I didn't particularly like, and I know Geoff isn't going to agree with me with this one, is these old scientists.
The conversation earlier, yeah. I
didn't like the cartoon stuff, but then again, I only just realised, of course, that there's like a cartoon, not a cartoon, an animated version, isn't there? So perhaps if I watch that, I might appreciate it more.
Yeah, I think
yes.
You haven't seen Lower Decks at this point, Martyn. So I will have to bring the DVDs in for you.
Okay, cool.
Lower Decks is wonderful. It is a love song to Star Trek.
Okay.
I think you might have fun with it. So give it a shot. Craig, it's been a minute since you and I've been on together, since episode 4. So how are you feeling about the series since episode 4?
Well, I was only recently on, actually. I was on episode 7 and 6 as well. I only missed 5 and 8 so far. I've been everywhere this season. But yeah, I think it's a good season. I do think it's better than season 1. I have a few episodes in season 1 that I found a bit tedious, but this only has 2 episodes I'm not hugely fussed about. So it's already an advantage on that side. So yeah, I'm really liking it. I think the show's found its feet a bit more. It's starting to get a sense of what it is. I think the writers as well are getting a bit better with episodic storytelling. So all in all, an improvement. Hopefully it will carry into season 3.
Yeah, I am already liking season 2 a lot better than season 1, and I really liked season 1. There were 2 episodes in season 1, one that I don't think I can ever go back and watch again, is Lift Us Up Where Suffering Cannot Reach. I don't think
that's a hard watch.
Yeah, I don't think I can go back and watch that one again. And then I didn't really care for the finale of season 1 because I felt like it was too copy-paste from original series. But I will say, this season, there hasn't been one I haven't liked. I thought they've all been good. In fact, there's been some that I just really, really like. So I'm feeling really good about this season. I really hope the finale gives us something really exciting and meaty to chew on while we wait for season 3. Yeah, hopefully that will occur soon. Please end the strike.
What's the finale going to give us?
I don't know. Gorn is my guess based on the season premiere, and we've not heard anything about Gorn since then. And we know
Sybok. That was mentioned.
Or Sybok. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Gorn and Sybok. I was kind of hoping we would have some song and dance numbers with Gorn this episode. Kind of like in Spaceballs. The chest burster, and then it jumps out and sings Michigan Rag or whatever.
Give us dancing Klingons, though. So
I was going to say yes. We did have that, and that was an amazing. that took me. I went, ooh, look at that. So yeah.
Well, while we're on the episode, Martyn, what would you give it out of 10? How would you rate it?
As an episode or as a musical?
Ooh, both.
As an episode, it seemed quite samey to another sort of like fantasy sort of series that was on a couple of years back. I won't mention it for a second. But I think perhaps a 6 or a 7 for that. As a musical, you're going to hate me for this. I thought it was very Disney.
Ah, okay. All right. So,
I felt musically it was very Disney. So I'd probably give it as a musical. We all love Disney, don't we? Probably about, 5 or 6-ish. Wasn't my favourite episode of all of them. Of all the ones this season, was my favourite.
Okay. Fair. Geoff, how about you?
I think I know which episode Martyn is talking about, because we were talking presumably about the very same episode earlier on today. I did enjoy it a bit more. I did like the fact that the whole thing is explained. It's a plot. It's in the story. I think I'll give it about a 7 or 8. And as a musical, probably about 6 or 7.
Okay. All right. Fair. Craig, how you feeling about this one?
I think for both it would be an 8. For me, and on both scales, I suppose, as we're now defining it.
Okay.
I thought it was really good, and I'll talk more about why I think it's really good as we go on. But yeah, it really grabbed me. It's definitely one of those episodes that will either grab you or not. And I imagine there'll be a lot of people that have perhaps not warmed up to this season who might find the breaking point after watching this. They might feel like, that's it. done. I can't do this show anymore. And if you can't, then fine. Please don't keep watching it and just to complain about it. Just accept that it's not for you and move on.
But I'm also wondering if this one for me is going to be like a repeat one. I need to keep watching it because I'll get different musical things each time, and that will probably change my opinion of it.
Shall we mention that?
One of those.
Shall we mention that episode that we're talking about?
Go on, Ed.
We are obviously talking about the Buffy the Vampire Slayer episode once more. With feeling.
Yeah.
And we just.
When you said a couple of years back, I thought,
more than a few years ago.
That's more like 15 or so.
I was going to say it could be, yeah. But the links to Buffy were obviously the writers have watched Buffy because there were so many links. Myself and Geoff were discussing it, probably Geoff, about the things they said, and we went, "That's a Buffy reference. That's a Buffy reference." You know.
Well, even the setup is very like that Buffy episode, as in the musical setup allows them to confess how they're really feeling rather than keep it inside. So what you do is you get an excuse to burn through what might be a third of a season's worth of character development in one episode. And if it was happening in any other episode, you'd be thinking, this is rushed and ridiculous. But with the musical shtick on the background, you're like, oh, right, okay, you've told me that they can't help but express their feelings. So fine, we're going to get all the truth in one explosion here. Cool.
Yeah, which is what musicals do. So that is a great way to get your information over, isn't it? Is to chuck in a song.
Yeah.
You know?
If people aren't keeping tedious secrets, because I get annoyed at that, having watched so much CW stuff, I get annoyed at we're waiting half a season for someone to finally tell the truth, despite the fact that they've repeatedly learned that they shouldn't keep secrets from those around them. So any episode that lets us get rid of that crap, I'm all for.
Once More with Feeling aired on November 6, 2001. So, friends, that was 22 years ago.
Okay.
I don't feel old at all.
Oh, dear me.
Confession time. Buffy the Vampire Slayer is my best friend's favorite TV show. I have only watched like the first 2, maybe 3 seasons, but she sat me down when we were in that would have been in high school. Yeah. So when we were in high school, and she showed me Once More with Feeling that she had recorded on VHS off the TV. And that was my introduction to Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So anyway, fun times.
That's such a well-written piece. You know, when you analyze it, which is what I've done because I'm that sad, it's very musically really good. And I said there's a lot of links between the musicality of that and the musicality of this Star Trek episode. The way that certain characters sing certain things, the way that the weaker singers just tend to sing a little bit here and there, but we know we don't forget them. And where they gave
Daniel, for some reason she gets a full.
Of course, yeah, I know, but you know, it's just a good song. But then you've got the fact that sort of the characters or the actors who are singers are the ones that are given the chance to show and to shine in this episode, and I think they do that really well. You know, I thought the singing in general was really good. You know, I was quite impressed that as far as I can see, there wasn't a severely weak link. You know, they all managed to pull it off. So I was quite pleased with that.
Yeah. So I think for me, because while I'm somewhat of a musical novice, I've got to give this episode like 8.5 or 9 out of 10 on both counts, because I think I'm a huge Kay Hanley fan. She did the lead vocals and wrote some of the music for my second favorite movie of all time, which is Josie and the Pussycats. Make fun of me all you want, I don't care. But that movie is how I learned how to read a scene. It has helped me to become a better musician. I became a much better guitarist, bassist, and drummer after watching that movie 18,000 times and listening to the soundtrack over and over again. Frankly, I'm surprised I haven't burned out my CD doing it, but just became a massive Kay Hanley fan because of that. And so I'm already like predisposed to enjoy this. Also, I like when Star Trek isn't afraid to be silly. I love humor. I love comedy. And I know that lands in different ways with different people, and that's fine. But Star Trek comedy tends to land pretty well with me. But the other thing I really enjoyed about this, that it actually functioned, it played by the rules of a musical. The music is not just there to be a musical number. It's there to move the plot along, explain things, and help us to, really do what they say here is we're saying things that we would never say out loud, but we're doing it because we're singing them. And I love that. I thought that was really fun. So like 8.5, 9 out of 10 for me. So, well, let's dig in. Let's dig in. Craig, I'm going to start with you. What worked for you in this episode?
So, like I said, I think they got the excuse for a lot of truths to be told in there, and I think they used it quite well. There's a lot of things that have been bubbling up over the season that finally get expressed in this episode rather than sort of dropping it all in a contrived way. Well, the musical is a contrivance in itself, but at least they've created a reason for it to exist rather than there's just scene after scene in the finale of people telling everybody the truth about stuff because we don't have any time left, as you sometimes see happen. So I think that really worked for me. I think on a narrative level it worked. And shout out to Paul Wesley's Kirk. I feel like he's really getting into the role now. There was a lot more Shatner in his performance in this episode. Not that he has to copy Shatner, but I was seeing definitely more. There's Kirk. There he is in the way he was playing the character this time. So maybe he just took a little bit of time to settle in after playing him as a alternate reality guy twice.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Geoff, what worked for you in this episode?
Yeah, I mean, we've obviously got these characters who've been keeping secrets from each other. We haven't just got Paul Wesley's Kirk and Hearn. We've got Spock and Chapel. We've got Pike and Battelle as well. They've obviously got these things bubbling under in their relationships, and the singing obviously exposes their feelings, exposes their emotions. And I did quite like as well that Hearn catches on to that at one point, and she realizes, hang on a minute, we're singing stuff that could be security threats. And she goes straight to Pike and says, look, this could actually cause us problems. And you know, it's a very real thing, because if they do end up, like they did, you know, they were communicating with the Klingons at one point, and they said, you know, if we start singing, we could end up revealing secrets to our enemy. So, yeah, I quite like the whole thing about that. But, yeah, it's all about, as we've already said, using this music to explore these stories, and I really liked that.
Martyn, what worked for you in this episode?
So for me, musically, it was quite cleverly written the way it did things. So the opening number, it would start with one person and then somebody else would join in, and then it was the fact that they knew what they were doing that I quite liked. It did break that fourth wall, as in like, oh, we're singing. Okay, right, but we can't stop singing. What I thought was interesting was that, as Geoff just said, you know, Lance said it could be a security risk, but none of them went, why are we singing? Are we? And it seemed relatively normal, then strange, then normal again. And then when they went and explained it, again, as Craig said earlier on, I liked the fact that they explained why it happened. I thought that was quite good, because then you got an understanding as the viewer as to what was going on. And the fact that they tried, I like the musical bit where Uhura was trying to work out what the melody was so she could then send it back in to sort of make it sort of go to its own little loop. I thought that was really good. And I did quite like the end, the way that they got it working by all singing together to get the sort of the power of music to break through and to sort of rescue everybody. I quite like that at the end. That was very triumphant, and I like that.
Yeah, similar to what y'all have said. I love the advancement of plot via musical numbers. Some of these songs just really hit me in the feels, and you know, we'll dig into that a little later. But I was like, my goodness, ouch, ooh, ow, felt that one. Okay, really enjoyed that. It was also fun to get to see, because I mean, we've got folks in this cast that are pretty good singers. I mean, and pretty good is an understatement when it comes to Celia Rose Gooding, who's been on Broadway, and then Christina Chong's released some music here in recent memory, so that's pretty cool. And I referenced in our conversation off mic about the short track Q&A. Part of the reason they had the whole thing with Una singing "I Am the Modern Major General" or whatever from Gilbert and Sullivan is because they asked her, well, what is like a hidden talent that you could sing in a space elevator? And you know, she's like, well, I really like Gilbert and Sullivan. And, you know, turns out she sings. And so that was why they had her do that, which is pretty fun. And so even like that song that she does with Kirk, it's very much in like a traditional musical theater style song. I thought that was really fun. Had a little, you know, kind of, you know, 3/4 time. It's bouncy, worked really well. So for me, again, when it comes to Star Trek, I am less, let's look at that very specific spaceship versus, the emotional beats. And for me, this was all the emotional beats, and I loved it. So, but let's dig in with favorite musical numbers from this episode. Martyn, I'm going to circle back to you. Any favorites from this one? Things that are going to go on repeat for you?
Yeah, so I liked the opening, the status report. I liked, and what was interesting with that was that Spock started it, And then when Spock sang later on about I'm the X, it's the same melody. So we're going.
Good catch.
It's the same melody. It's in the sort of minor key. I like the opening number, but it's also very, very similar to the new song that was written for the Aladdin movie called Speechless, which is da 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 dee 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 dee, and he starts da 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 dee 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 dee. So there's quite similarities there. But I like that opening number. I thought that was really good, really strong. And for me, it really brought in the, okay, yes, this is going to work, which I liked. And as I said, I liked the link, I liked the reprise later on. And I ran that back several times going, has he changed the key? It's the same key. And I Am an X was in a different key from the first one. But the vocal range on Ethan Peck, I was very impressed with. He goes, da-da-da, oh. You know, he hits those like falsetto notes, then he goes down in his boots. So I'm pretty sure that song was written specifically for him, so the writers obviously knew what his range was, which is not new because Mozart did that for Magic Flute. You know, the reason he wrote the Queen of the Night aria was because he had a soprano that could sing like that. So I think it's quite interesting. For me, it was obviously written for him. I don't know whether the rest were, but that one for me definitely was, just because of how unique it was in its style. You know, it's not something that anybody who just sort of sings could do. So they're my two, the Spock ones for me.
Very good. Craig, how about you? Did you have a favorite?
The La'an song I really liked, and of course the finale number. The other ones haven't quite earwormed their way into me. I've only seen the episode twice, so maybe if I listen to them, there'll be ones that stand out a bit more, but those two immediately stood out.
The La'an song is called How Would That Feel? And then you said the finale number?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's called We Are One. Yeah.
Those ones.
Yeah.
I didn't know the titles.
Yeah. All good. Good songs. Good choices. Geoff, how about you?
Love the fact that we're all picking different ones. Although saying that, I did really like the closing finale as well, the We Are One song.
That's a bit of a cheat, isn't it? Right? It's designed for everybody to like it, probably.
Exactly, and it's purposefully designed to get everyone in so they can hit that level at the end of the song. But I really like the Christine Chapel song as well, which was I'm Ready, I believe.
Yes.
Where she's singing in the bar area, and obviously she wanted to keep what was going on secret from Spock, but of course music starts up, she's off, and it's a full song and dance routine in that area. Everyone's involved, and Spock is just looking on disgusted kind of at this point. But yeah, I love the fact as well, just on a side note about the whole thing with Chapel being ready, and it's a Dr. Roger Corby reference as well back to the original series. But yeah, that was my particular favorite song. But then I do have a bit of a soft spot for Christine Chapel in this series. I think.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't? I it was funny listening back to our first episode this season where it was all four of us hosts, and I said something about how much I really enjoy Jess Bush, and all of us were like, yes, Jess Bush, because she's great.
Yeah, I never thought I'd get to an era of Star Trek where I would honestly say that Christine Chapel is one of my favorite characters. But here we are. She's great.
Yeah, no, she's fantastic. Ooh, so many good choices. I really enjoyed all the songs. It was fun how stylistically they all kind of worked well for not just what that character was experiencing, but even like kind of how that character is. Like I'm Ready is this kind of jazzy lounge number. And so you could totally see Christine, like, yeah, I love me some jazz. I love hanging out at the club and bopping my head to that. Yeah. So I think that's awesome. I love that the lyrics of Spock's song, I'm the X, are basically algebra and talking about like analytical subjects. And that's all the language that's so very Spock. And my goodness, when he hits that like low note, I was like, whoa. What was that? That was beautiful. My goodness. Good grief. I don't think there's anything Ethan Peck can't do. So good job.
One thing, can I just
jump in.
Throw this in? I thought what was really interesting with Connect to Your Truth, which was the Una and Kirk number, we know that she is a character like Gilbert and Sullivan. So the style is very legit, very old school. And it's very Rodgers and Hammerstein, sort of King and I style musical, which is what she as a character prefers. Yeah. So I'm wondering whether the songs for the characters are a reflection of them, as you just said.
I wouldn't be surprised. I was watching the episode the other night with my Star Trek buddy, and she observed how would that feel. It felt very much, she's like, that sounds like a Frozen song, like, because it's about, one, it's this big power ballad, which, I mean, Christina Chong just nailed it. It was gorgeous, but it's all about being alone and not being able to express yourself, which is basically what Frozen is about. Go ahead.
Because she, of course, was West End. She appeared, so she was musical theatre trained. She went to Italia Conti Drama School when she was 14, did it, and then she had an injury which stopped her dancing, which is why she then went into more straight acting.
Things I did not know.
Yeah, so for me, she was one of the strongest singers because I could see and hear her training, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it's what I do, it's like, I thought it was more modern, a nice contrast to the one before, which is more legit, this piano ballad, and it did use lots of things like Frozen, where she'd say something, there'd be a silence, the music would build up, but then she'd come back in with it. So yes, I agree with you in that. But no, it was interesting to see how the writers wrote, to the strengths of their actors as well, which I thought was really good.
Yeah.
The Chapel one gave me Amy Winehouse vibes a bit.
Ooh, yes, please.
Yeah.
I love Amy Winehouse. Amy Winehouse is a karaoke go-to for me because that's like a very comfortable range. But yeah, I can hear Jess Bush singing Rehab. Let's do that.
Yeah.
I think, though, Keeping Secrets might, you all have already mentioned all the ones I really enjoy, but Keeping Secrets, I think, is a little underrated. The song that Una sings to La'an, because she and La'an have this shared experience of feeling alone and not being able to connect 100% with other people. And so that one was just one that hit me personally. So I really love that. But I would be very, very remiss if I failed to mention Celia Rose Gooding blowing out the windows with Keep Us Connected. I love like how that one just built and built and built and built until she's like hitting those high notes and shattering glass because it's gorgeous. But I mean, obviously she's the Broadway star of the cast. So that's
I didn't realize that she was, because for me, as a vocal guy, I thought she was one of the weaker ones.
Oh.
And I tell you why.
Shots fired.
I know. Mostly because the beginning of the song was too low for her. You could hear her larynx dropping and it was quite uncomfortable. But my guess is it was that so she could hit the bits to the end.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But again, if the songs were written for the characters, I would have just written it so it didn't go so low for her. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, of all of them, that's the one that he was nice. I thought he was very Carole King, that one.
Okay.
With a sort of guitar folky style, it was a 6/8 time, and then you sort of had the dum which came in to give it a bit more power, which was nice. But yeah, of all of them, that's the one that I went, I suppose, yeah.
Fascinating.
It's weird, isn't it? Because again, me not knowing who she is, I'm just going, okay, so what Broadway stuff has she done then? Because again, I don't know that well at all. I'll do some research.
I would have to look. I don't remember offhand.
Yeah, I'll do some research on that now. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
Can I also give a special shout out as well to Private Conversation, which I thought was very, very funny.
Half a song.
And the half a song before La'an just completely ended the conversation. I'm surprised actually that they didn't carry on singing themselves.
The thing is, before La'an did that, and Pike was clearly not wanting to have that conversation, I was thinking, close the channel, turn it off, turn it off.
Sometimes you have to go where the music takes you, Craig.
But I should have just been sitting there thinking, this is maybe not something we're supposed to hear. Hang up.
But
in a musical, she maybe wants some gossip, I guess.
Yeah, but in sort of movie musical sort of logic, you could still have had her singing still on the bridge of her ship, and him singing still on the bridge of his, and just cut in between them. But obviously,
can't have that.
Yeah, and obviously they had said that as soon as the channel closed, and that stopped it going over the ship.
Yeah. Were there any surprises for you guys in the vocal numbers?
Because I'm not that familiar with musical careers. I mean, Paul Wesley, I'll actually give him a shout out. And I know you mentioned him earlier on. Paul Wesley's singing, he didn't really get that much to do, although he did sing with Una with Connect, the second song. I thought he had a fantastic voice, and I was not expecting that at all. I don't know if he'd had any sort of singing before when he was doing the Vampire Diaries or any other jobs that he's done, but
I don't know if there was a musical episode of that. It wouldn't surprise me.
Wouldn't surprise me. I'll have to speak to my partner actually, because she's the big Vampire Diaries fan, so she'll know. But he did have a fantastic voice.
Yeah.
It made sense for him to only come in and out though, because it's not his ship, it's not his crew. So he was helping out anyway. So it made thematic sense for him to help out during the musical numbers.
I don't know that there were any that totally surprised me, because I mean, this cast is they're just so good. Like on stage together, they have such good chemistry. And I knew a lot of them could sing or had musical background. So yeah, Mr. Dirty Blogger and I were having a discussion this afternoon. It's like, could they have done a musical with any of the other modern Trek casts? And I was like, you could probably do it with Disco, because you've got at least 2 folks that have been on Broadway or done musical theater in that cast. I don't know about anybody else, but Anthony Rapp and Wilson Cruz have both done Rent.
They have. One of my favorite shows, Rent. Yes, I've done that.
Yep. So they've both done Rent and can both sing. I don't know about anybody else in the cast, but I have a feeling you've got some singers in there. But Strange New Worlds has definitely got the deck stacked in their favor in terms of like talent and chemistry, and so I think this episode works really well because of that.
I think if they'd done one in the original series, it might have prematurely killed Shatner and Nimoy's musical careers, which would have been a gift.
Well, let's be honest. Do you not know their musical careers anyway? They are renowned. The story of Bilbo Baggins was one, wasn't it? And there's Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, which was the lovely cover that Mr. Shatner did in his very strange way.
I actually like a couple of Shatner's albums. There's a couple of his later ones where he leans into the fact he can't sing. So what he does is he gets really talented musicians to create arrangements for him, and he does essentially spoken word over them. And they work really well, actually. So there's one where he covers a bunch of sci-fi inspired songs, things like Spirit in the Sky and so on. So yeah, check that out, because
he's done some Eminem as well.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah, hasn't he done some Eminem as well?
That was on Futurama.
Yeah. Don't forget as well that the original series did give us the amazing Way to Eden episode as well. So we have had music in the past in that era. But I was going to say as well, Star Trek Enterprise, don't forget Scott Bakula had a Broadway background as well. So he's got a good singing voice. As for any of the rest of the crew, I don't know, but Scott Bakula.
DS9 probably had a few, I would imagine.
Armin Shimmerman, I can imagine. Actually, they have.
Well, there's a Star Trek Rat Pack, isn't there?
That's what I was going to say, yeah. Because Casey Biggs does it, Aaron Eisenberg used to, Max Grodenchik does it, Armin Shimmerman. Chase Masterson's got a damn good singing voice as well. So, yeah, there's definitely a Deep Space Nine. Oh, yeah, Deep Space Nine, I think, could definitely have done a musical episode.
Nana Visitor, she knows what she's doing to some degree.
Yes.
She did a musical number in one. So, yeah, they'd have got away with it. It would have been largely second-tier guest characters that would have been doing the lion's share, but they could have done it.
Can Jeffrey Combs sing? That's the question.
I mean, I feel like we're going to end the series and find out Anson Mount is actually Jeffrey Combs or something.
They're all Jeffrey Combs.
Everyone is Jeffrey Combs. Yeah. I think if anything surprised me, it was the Klingon boy band number, which put me on the floor. Also, I did not realize until my second viewing when I caught his name in the credits, but Bruce Horak was in this episode, and I am operating under the assumption that he is Klingon General Garkon, the general with the eye patch, which makes sense because I believe Bruce Horak's one functioning eye is his left one, and the other one was covered with an eye patch, so that would make sense.
I feel like we've been oversold on the Bruce Horak returning this season.
Yeah. I when he had his appearance in episode 6, I thought that was it. So I was happy to see him back for at least this episode. I do hope this isn't the last we've seen of him. I hope he becomes like the new Jeffrey Combs or something, or they think of another role for him. But Bruce is a delight, and I was sorry to see Himmer go. But yeah, that appearance was delightful. I love the idea that Klingon boy bands are a thing that exists in this world. So
we had that bit where Una said, there's nothing worse than singing Klingons or whatever. Well, you can't stop Klingons from singing. Everything they talk about songs being sung about what they're doing. So that's part of their culture.
I wonder
definitely a different style.
I wonder whether the Gorn can sing. That would be quite interesting, wouldn't it?
Hello, my baby. Hello, my baby.
So what did we think of Helia then? Because obviously she had like half a line and a little bit of backing vocals in it, didn't she? She's, there wasn't a lot of her. So is she not a singer, Carol Kane?
I think she's done some musical theater, but now that I've said it out loud, I'm not 100% positive. So I'm going to check the internet.
I'm guessing it was with her and Benga, it was, let's get them doing as little as possible because maybe they're not strong enough to do their own numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so looking at, I've done a quick little look now, and she's done plays, but not really musicals.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Although she was in Wicked.
Was she?
Playing Madame Morrible, of course, who doesn't really sing apart from that one song in it.
Well,
but
so I guess she can sing, yeah.
So perhaps they just chose not to then, because if you've played one of the main characters in one of the most successful shows of the last 20 odd years. Yeah, that's interesting. I remember I did read this when I saw it, and then it split my mind until I just looked again. But
it could have been a logistical thing. I get the impression that she's only around some of the time, so they just do scenes here and there whenever she's around. So the idea of getting her to rehearse and harmonise and all that would have probably been a logistical impossibility. So that's why, right?
Yeah, of course.
One line in the ensemble number or whatever. So I think it's probably. We only have her for a few days at a time.
I wonder if it was working around the accent as well, singing, because obviously she's putting on this voice and this accent as Helia. Because, just going back to the Once More with Feeling episode, James Masters is a fantastic singer. But he was sort of, he was roped into singing in an English accent, and that's obviously not his strength. So his song in Once More with Feeling isn't great, but I can imagine he would absolutely nail that song if he could sing that in his normal accent. But yeah, he was a bit hamstrung by the song, I thought. And I wonder if it's the same now with Helia.
And when we're speaking accents, did anybody notice that when Lon sang her song, she sang with American accent, whereas her character is English?
Lon is actually, or Christina Chong, I believe, is from London, is she not?
Yeah, but she sang her song with American accent, whereas the character has English accent, which I thought was very strange. If you listen, her accent goes to a US accent when she sings her song, when she sings the solo, which I thought was interesting. Well, she was trained in Italian Conti, so she wouldn't go to States. Do you know what I mean? She'd stay. So I just thought it was interesting little thing that I picked up, because I went, oh, her accent's changed, because when I train people, we have to get them to be consistent with accents. So like if they are an American character, they sing with an American accent. If they're a British character, they sing with a British accent. That's the way it goes. So I thought that was just interesting sort of character choice, I suppose we could put it down as.
Yeah, I often joke that all of you Europeans sound the same to me. So I just don't notice. But I mean, the other night after my buddy and I watched this episode, we went on YouTube and looked up some of Christina Chong's music, because she's just released a couple of music videos, and I didn't notice an accent there. So I'm not sure. I think it's a good question, but I don't know what the right answer is.
More of an observation than a complaint, as it was more like, oh, interesting.
We've talked about the good. Let's because we try to be mostly positive on this show, but not everything's going to work for everyone. So Geoff, I'm going to start with you. Was there anything that didn't really work for you in this episode?
Oh, start with me. I don't think so, to be honest. I'm just trying to think if anything, if I did have any problems with it. No, in all honesty, I didn't. I play the same game as I do now with most episodes of Strange New Worlds and Discovery, and that's spotting the AR wall. But I didn't really do that in this episode neither. And no, sorry to be really, really boring, Ashley, but no, nothing I can think of was negative for me.
That's okay. That's okay. Craig, anything didn't really land with you?
It's more down to a persistent issue the series has in terms of the serialization. I picked up mostly with Una, where she's talking about, I'm trying this new thing where I'm trying to be the crew's friends. I'm trying to connect to the crew more personally. And we haven't really seen a lot of evidence of that, because Rebecca Romaine's schedule is obviously something they're working around, which means you don't see an awful lot of Una. And when you do, she only tends to spend time with a couple of characters. So we haven't really seen any evidence of a change in her command style, or indeed her old command style, never mind her new one. So that's a thing that is brought up as I've been trying this lately, and I'm thinking, have you? Because I've not seen it.
Mm-hmm. Fair.
It's a problem that Strange New Worlds has, though. Like I said in a previous episode, sometimes I feel like we've missed 4 episodes between episodes because they talk about progression that's happened that we never see. So it's another example of that.
Yeah, fair. Martyn, how about you?
Apart from what I said earlier, a little bit about Hooters, not really. I suppose the one thing is that it did feel a little rushed, and that's only because musicals are long, aren't they? So therefore, I just thought it suddenly all came together quite in a nice little sort of package at the end. You know, as if like usually we go da 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 poo, and then jazz hands, and then they finish it. So that's the only thing is it's like, oh, that was solved quite quickly. But apart from that, no. You know, in fact, the more I'm discussing them, I'm talking about it, the more it's might get a higher mark at the end of the conversation than it did at the beginning.
All right. All right.
So looking back, going, yeah.
That's fair. Very good. Very good. Yeah, I think what surprised me, and maybe necessarily this isn't a complaint or whatever, but I was thinking we might stretch out this whole Spock, Chapel, Kirk La'an thing a little longer than what we have been. And I know they're both kind of ill-fated, but I still kind of ship them. And RIP my feels, because everybody's sad now. So.
See, for me, it's a good thing because I do not like prolonged angst. As a CW watcher of many shows, prolonged angst drives me up the wall. So
maybe it's because I haven't watched a CW show properly in about 20 years. So maybe I was missing the angst, or at least I found characters I liked enough to be a little angsty for. So I was a little surprised that both of those potential relationships ended in this episode.
Well, I do agree with you in terms of Spock and Chapel, as in we haven't seen enough of their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
We saw it start. We saw maybe a scene or so of them working out how their dynamic works, and now it's over. So we haven't seen an awful lot of them just being in a couple, which again, 4 episodes missed between episodes. I feel like that would just be a background element in more episodes that you would just get used to for a bit, and then you would connect with it, and then they would take it away from you. Whereas here it starts, they have a chat about it in episode 6, episode 8, Spock can't find a way to help her, and now it's over, potentially. I imagine next week will be properly ending, the goodbyes and stuff.
Right.
You also had as well, don't forget, the moment where Chapel realizes that potentially she's not part of Spock's life because Boimler lists off a whole list of things about Spock that he knows about him, and none of them include her at all. So she obviously realizes that all the things that Spock becomes famous for, she's not part of it. So she's obviously already thinking, all right, what can I do next? And the thing then with Roger Corby, it is perfect. And again, it's a nice little link back to the original series from the episode What Our Little Girl's Made Of, where you find out that she does, a spoiler for a program that's almost 60 years old, that she does end up engaged to him at one point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There is one thing that I thought of while we've been talking, and as Martyn said earlier on, I think this is probably something that's going to change the more I watch this episode and the more I listen to the soundtrack. There didn't seem to be that earworm, there didn't seem to be that hook where after the episode finished, you'd be there going, da, 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 and just carry on singing one of the songs from the show. I think that might have been a little bit of a downside to it, because I couldn't think of a single song afterwards, apart from, just thinking apologies. I couldn't really think of much else that I could remember after the episode and go back and just sing a hook.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that, Geoff. It's the same with me, but then again, I think this is a grower. I think it's one of these like musicals which are a grower. There's lots that I listen to the first time and think, oh, okay. Then I listen again and listen again. And then the more I listen to it, the more I go, actually, it starts to sort of grow on you. So I think it could be one of those. So sort of my plan over the next couple of days now is perhaps to listen to the music a bit more and then sort of see whether my sort of ideas and thoughts about it change. But I tell you one thing that we've not mentioned, and this is me coming as a musician, I suppose, was the way that the opening and closing titles were changed musically. What are your thoughts on that then, guys?
I wasn't surprised that there was an a cappella style opening theme, because frankly, if you are a Star Trek fan of any length of time, you start humming along and singing along with all every single theme, even if there are no words. And yes, you still sing along with the Enterprise theme. Don't tell me you don't, because that's a lie. Anyway, but I know I've caught myself, I'm washing dishes and I was like humming along the theme of Strange New Worlds. And sometimes to annoy Mr. Nerdy Blogger, I will start belting it really loudly throughout the house, because there's no words to that, but ba 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 ba, like that. And because that's fun. It's fun. Come on.
It's also a really clever take on the original, it being minor compared to the original, because I was listening to it going, da, da, you know. But I tell you what I did notice, the opening note is the same as my doorbell. So every time that note went, I went, oh, but then it changed into the music. So it's the same pitch as my doorbell and the same sound as my doorbell. But I love the fact that in the closing titles, they used quite unusual instruments. So I picked up, there was either a contrabassoon or a contra clarinet, which is not particularly common in orchestras.
As a band kid, I thought it was a bari sax. I'm also a sax player, so there you go.
Oh yeah, because I've got. Oh, could have been that. Could have been a bari. So again,
it might have been both. It might have been both. There was a lot of woodwind stuff going on in the song. Yeah,
but of course that's very. But I'm sort of in the closing titles. Of course, those instruments, marching bands, are very big in the States, aren't they? So you'll be more aware of the sound and the genre. Whereas in the UK, they're not that popular. Mm-hmm. So I'm only picking it up from perhaps the odd sort of piece that I studied or whatever. So yeah, but I just thought for me it was nice to hear different instruments. I thought it was a nice touch, and the fact that this show's got the budget to have a live orchestra, I think, is great. You know, that's so nice, because these days it's so unusual to have a live orchestra and real musicians, and I think that's one of the great things that I do like about the whole Star Trek franchise. I suppose always has a proper band, as we musicians call it. You know?
Yeah, agree.
Well, fun fact: the original series theme actually originally did have lyrics. I think Gene Roddenberry wrote them so that he would get the royalties every time it was played, even though the lyrics weren't there.
Yes, I read that recently, yes.
Gene Roddenberry was not a nice person in a lot of ways.
I've always said, for a man who created a world where there was no need for money or anything like that, he sure knew which side his bread was buttered on. So, you know. He was getting those royalties however he could.
Yeah. Also, there was a cappella stuff on, I think, the third season of the original series in the theme.
Yes. He used a soprano. Cool.
Just me dropping facts.
Dropping facts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've said it on other shows, but like Craig's just has like an encyclopedic knowledge of the planet. Just has lots of random fun facts, no matter the topic.
If I turn my ability to retain useless information to useful information, imagine what heights I could have reached.
You know, I think I have the same superpower.
Yeah, me as well. I think we all have. Yeah,
that's why we do podcasts, right?
Could be running the world instead of just talking about nerdy stuff.
Fair. A couple other things I had in my notes. I really enjoyed the range of musical styles we got in this episode, from front to back. Like not one song was totally the same. You have, like we talked about already, that classic Rodgers and Hammerstein, Gilbert and Sullivan classical musical style. You have like a pop song. You've got a power ballad. You've got a sad, brooding rock song. And then that end number like kind of leaned into some pop punk. I was listening to the bass line and I'm like, oh, that sounds very much like Josie and the Pussycats, that early 2000s pop punk musical style that I just have such an affinity for, because that was my jam in high school. I really liked that. So for me, the range of musical styles in this episode were really fun.
Did you also pick up that in the finale, once it had finished, the original Star Trek theme came in, and as it's called, "We Are One." My take on that was, this is going full circle, and now we are all one. So I thought that was a little clever musical motif popped in there. Not a secret motif, well noticeable, but I just thought it was nice that it was there. And I went, yeah, that sort of ends it off with, the going back to the original, and, we are all one Trek universe. So I quite like that.
For me, it felt like, we've just finished a musical, like the audience is cheering. We've got some background music playing. So there's background music and noise. So there's not dead air. That was kind of how I interpreted it, but it felt like applause at the end to me. As soon as that started, I was like, oh yes, applause, yes.
Yeah, because it finishes off with at the very end of that song, you've pretty much got the main crew at the front of the bridge, and they're like doing their bows, because it reaches that crescendo of the song, and they are bowing as well as part of the dance routine. And yeah, it did look like they were taking their bows at the end of a show. And yeah, that makes sense that then the Star Trek theme comes in as their applause. So yeah.
Very good. Any other points you guys want to touch on?
Can I just mention that the whole thing about the improbability field, I don't know if you know about at all, Ashley, but I'm a big Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy fan,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole improbability field reminded me so much of the improbability drive that the Heart of Gold has got. And I did wonder at some point if we were going to start seeing crews turning into lampstands and sofas and things like that.
Well, they rule
because
that out
I
pretty
kept,
quickly, don't they?
because I kept thinking Hitchhiker's Guide for the improbability drive.
Well, La'an does make mention in that meeting. So at what point do we all start poofing into bunnies? When does the improbability field turn into that? And I personally thought of Everything Everywhere All at Once. I don't know. Have y'all seen that one?
Yeah.
I've got about halfway through that film, and I wasn't as big a fan, I think, as The Academy.
Yeah, The Academy was correct. That is my favorite film from last year. But for them to access the other multiverse or other reality, you have to do something like the most improbable thing you could do in that moment. Like give yourself paper cuts in between all of your fingers and put your shoes on different feet. It was that was the sort of thing I thought. I was like, oh, what's so improbable about this? The world is a musical.
But my world is a musical. So in my head, everything is sung.
Yeah, no.
So this for me was perfectly normal. Don't forget, I work in a performing arts department. This is normal. People wandering around and singing and then suddenly dancing in the corner. And yeah, for me, this was just like everyday work, but set in space, pretty much.
Well, stick to your truth.
Exactly.
The technobabble was ridiculous, even by Star Trek standards.
Oh,
it
gosh.
looks like a zipper. Do you think it behaves like a zipper?
What? I love that. Yeah.
I loved it. Well, you know what? You were talking about, is this a grower, a score that we have to listen to and it grows on you? Like, oh, yes, this is my earworm. I think part of that is all the technobabble is really hard to remember. Because I had the same thought after the first time I watched it. It's like, oh, wow, that was really fun. I really enjoyed that. But I can only kind of hum, one or two of the songs. I don't remember a lot of the words, and it's because a lot of them are technobabble.
I think have to affect the entire Federation, or at least the entire fleet. That seems pointless because it doesn't really factor in any way. So it's just going to be this weird galactic event that no one ever talks about ever again.
Would they then have become Star Glee Command? Sorry.
Yes.
Maybe so. Apparently, Admiral April has a very lovely baritone. So
and we didn't hear it.
I know.
When Kirk takes command, it will be Spock. Remember that time I was shadowing Una and we couldn't stop singing? That was a weird time, right?
But speaking of Kirk, one other thing I want to point out is we get a Carol Marcus reveal and that she is pregnant. So that was a little surprising, and also tells me this is going a little different from original series. So Craig, I was hoping to get some insight from you on this because you've postulated for a while that Strange New Worlds might be a soft TOS reboot. So I was hoping I was hoping you would have some insight on this because Kirk didn't know about Carol's pregnancy, correct?
No, he did.
He did. Okay.
They talk about the fact that a choice was made, and Carol says, "You had your world, and I had mine, and I wanted him in mine." And they talk about the fact that there was a decision made. They don't go into too much detail, but it's clear that Kirk knew about him. It's the point when they meet, he says, "Is that David?" So he knows. So, and the timeline matches up because Kirk's in his mid-20s at this point. Wrath of Khan's 50. David's about 25, 30, something like that. So timeline matches up. Yeah. So my guess is we'll see Carol Marcus next season, and Kirk will have to make some kind of a choice. They'll sort of part ways and agree that Kirk will continue his career in Starfleet, and Carol will be a single mum, I'm guessing.
So maybe my Kirk La'an ship has not sunk yet? Is that what you're saying?
Well, it won't be permanent, of course. It will be original series Kirk, a casual thing, and then move on, I guess.
The longer this series goes on, the more I'm like, I do kind of hope for a soft TOS reboot.
It will be soft, though. They won't meddle with the big stuff.
Right.
I don't think.
Yeah. Again, I've said it before, but I think just about everybody in this cast could have chemistry with a rock. So
the big stuff can be decades later. That's pretty big, but you know what I mean. In terms of what you know about these characters and things, I don't think they'll change too much about that.
Oh well. Anyway, anything else you guys want to touch on before we wrap for today?
I've hit all my notes.
I've hit all my notes. Yeah,
You've hit all your notes.
I have indeed.
And to be fair, that's something I don't normally get to say after one of our rehearsals, is that I've hit all my notes.
Fair.
I hit some of mine, but I just bluff it,
I have lots of notes, but we'll be here all night if we go into everything I've noted down. Our review will detail all that I don't say here.
Fair. All right. Well, guys, this has been a blast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of We Are Starfleet discussing Subspace Rhapsody. Thank you, Geoff and Martyn, for joining us today. Martyn, can you tell the folks at home where they can connect with you online or hear more about your work?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram on Piano Man Mark. So if you look on Instagram, TikTok, that's where I am. I just tend to play piano and goof around mostly, but that's what I do, yeah.
Wonderful. Geoff, how about you?
I'm on Twitter or X or whatever it's called at the moment. I'm at NCC_17 Formula One.
All right, very good. Craig, how about you?
Mainly on Kneel Before Blog, so kneelbeforeblog.co.uk, where I review things like this. So, like I said, my comprehensive review where I say all the stuff that I don't say here will be there, and I review other stuff, the odd film. Everything's slowing down at the moment because a lot of the shows that I cover are ending, so I might get a bit of time to just not do stuff. That'll be nice. But there's an attached podcast where we also talk about nerdy stuff, monthly news roundup. There's all sorts of stuff as I clear an editing backlog coming down the pipe, so you can check out all of that. That's on Facebook and X, I guess, under Kneel Before Blog. You can just type that in. And since we're on We Made This Show, I have to say that my personal handle on X is Nemesis4909, which isn't a Star Trek reference initially. It originally was a Resident Evil reference and then later became a Star Trek reference. So there we go. I have fulfilled my obligation.
Awesome. You can follow me personally at The Nerdy Blogger. You can like my Facebook page, facebook.com/TheNerdyBlogger. You can read my works on my blog, nerdyblogging.wordpress.com, where I write about film and television. You can also read my words on fangirlish.com, where I'm also writing about film and television, mostly Star Trek. You can hear me on the We Made This podcast network, not just on We Are Starfleet, but also on our Marvel podcast. It's Podcast 616. That is podcast-616. Thanks for joining us for another episode. And remember, we are part of the We Made This podcast network. Please subscribe to We Are Starfleet and give us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And if you want to help out our network, please consider supporting us on Patreon. And you can do that if you go to patreon.com/We Made This. Star Trek Strange New Worlds is not all we're discussing, so we'll give you a taste of what you might have missed on the network in just a moment. So until next time, hit it. But why are we singing?
All systems normal.
One thing I would have liked as a through line actually was Pike just being exasperated the whole time because he sort of buys into it. I would have liked it if at the end it's like, apparently we have to do a show-stopping musical number. That's my day.
That would have been really funny actually. Yeah, if he'd just gone, look, I've had enough of this now.
What a great day at work.
Yeah, didn't mention as well the reaction from Uhura when she starts singing right at the end, and they all stare at her, and it's like, oh no, no, I'm just singing because I'm happy.
That's awesome.
That's when the sign goes up, no humming on the bridge. PTSD.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, fun times.
Welcome to Make It So, a Star Trek Legacy podcast. Engage your warp cores and get ready to embark on a thrilling journey through the depths of the 24th and 25th centuries. Have some fun on the Cerritos. Join the Enterprise D crew. Take a trip with Star Trek Voyager. Take some lessons on the Protostar, or even relax on Deep Space Nine. With Make It So, we pay homage to the rich legacy of Star Trek, celebrating its enduring impact on popular culture and its profound influence on science fiction as a whole. We honour the vision of Gene Roddenberry and the countless writers, actors and creators who have brought this incredible universe to life. So join us as we navigate the cosmic expanse of the final frontier, engage in lively discussions, dissecting episodes, analysing characters, and sharing our love for everything Star Trek. Whether you are a lifelong fan or just beginning your voyage, this podcast is for you. It's time to embark on a journey where the stars are our guides, where the impossible becomes possible, and where the spirit of exploration knows no bounds. Welcome aboard Make It So, the Star Trek Legacy podcast that will transport you to new frontiers and ignite your passion for the future. Make it so.
It's time for today's Lucky Land horoscope with Victoria Cash.
Life's gotten mundane, so shake up the daily routine and be adventurous with a trip to Lucky Land.
You know what they say. Your chance to win starts with a spin. So go to LuckyLandSlots.com to play over 100 social casino-style games for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. Get lucky today at LuckyLandSlots.com.
Available to players in the U.S., excluding Washington and Michigan. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
It's time for today's Lucky Land horoscope with Victoria Cash.
Life's gotten mundane, so shake up the daily routine and be adventurous with a trip to Lucky Land. You know what they say. Your chance to win starts with a spin. So go to LuckyLandSlots.com to play over 100 social casino-style games for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. Get lucky today at LuckyLandSlots.com.
Available to players in the U.S., excluding Washington and Michigan. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.